In this Flowblade tutorial, I will show you how to edit a sequence of video clips. Flowblade is only available for Linux-based operating systems. If you have any other operating system, have a look at my playlists where you'll find other video editing tutorials. Okay. The one thing I would do with Flowblade, though you don't have to do this, but if you're using a camera, you know what sort of format your camera works in. So if you just left click to the top of the screen on the edit button and then come down to preferences, with the general tab selected, next to default profile, select the video profile that best matches your camera. Now mine's HD 1080p 25 frames per second. If I wanted to change it, I would just left click on the little arrow and match my camera to whatever sort of format I wanted to use. So we'll keep this the same and then just left click on OK. Now it might tell you to restart the program, but because I haven't actually changed anything, I'm not going to bother. If you have changed anything, restart Flowblade. Okay. Now adding clips to Flowblade, you've got a couple of options. You can either left click on the Add tab and then navigate to the folder that your videos is stored in and then just select the ones you want to use and then left click on Open, and that will bring them into this panel here. Or as I prefer to do when I can, is I actually use my file browser, so the thumbnails are quite often a lot better. So I'm just gonna bring up the videos that I've put into my browser. First time I've used this one, so the thumbnails haven't come up, so I'll just select the three that I'm going to use, reduce it in size, and then just drag them into this middle section here, and then we'll wait till they appear. Okay. Now, one of the problems with quite a lot of video editors is that they'll only edit the format that you've actually imported into them. So if they're large files, if I just double click on this one just to show you what I mean, if they're large files, you get lag. Now the one way to get over this problem is to use something called Proxy clips. Now these are duplicates of your original clip. They're a lot smaller, therefore you don't get the lag, but when you finally render your clip, they just relate back to the original format and you get a full definition render. Now different programs work in different ways, and some of the editors don't have this option, especially the free ones, and in fact some of the professional ones don't even have this option. Blender and KDEnlive, you can use proxies. Some of the more fancy whistled ones don't, and they can be a problem. So using proxies in Flowblade is slightly different than some other editors. What you'll need to do is come up to the tab that says Project and left click on it, then left click on Project Manager, left click Use Proxy Media and wait for the little bar to stop flicking backwards and forwards. Once that's happened, close the manager. Now hold down Control and select your clips, and to the right of Delete there's a little tab. If you put your pointer over it, it'll say Render Proxy Files for Selected Media. Left click on this and you'll have to wait for this bar to finish rendering your clips. I'll come back to it in a minute. Okay, well that's all the clips rendered to Proxy clips. So editing clips, a couple of ways, or a couple of easy ways to do this in Flowblade. So the first one, if I just double click on the first clip, and I'm going to kill the sound actually, just so that you can hear what I'm doing. You can play the clip and stop it using the stop button here, but presumably you've already looked at your clip, so you pretty well know what you want to sort of chop out. So place your pointer over the marker and just drag the clip to the point where you want it to edit. Now it's a bit wobbly there, so we'll just start it here. These aren't brilliant clips, but they're good enough for what I want. So with your marker at the point where you want your clip to start, you've got a couple of buttons. To the right of the square stop button, you've got your mark in button. Now you can left click on this, or you can press I on your keyboard. So just left click on the mark in button, this one here, and that's where your clip will start. Now drag your clip over to the point where you want it to finish. It's getting a bit wobbly there, so we'll go to there, and then to the right of your mark in button is your mark out button. Now you can left click on this or press 0, or rather O, letter O on your keyboard. Now that will only play between here and here. Place your pointer over your monitor, hold your left mouse button down, and then drag your clip into track 1, V1. You can use any of these tracks, but just start easier to go to 1. And the first thing you might notice is even though this is a short clip, it's right over to the right. So with your pointer in the track panel, just roll your middle mouse so that you've got something to work with. Okay, that's one way of editing a clip. Incidentally, you can change it here if you want. So if you wanted to change the length, you can hold your left mouse button down over the edge and drag it. So let's do that. So I just want to increase it again back to its original sort of position, so I can, or just to there, and that will actually make it longer. And you can do it at the beginning as well, though you may have to drag this over. I'm going to reset this, so I'm going to just press Control Z, and that will take me back, or Z as they say in America, to the original point. Okay, it's always worth remembering Control Z is a good way of correcting mistakes on most video editors. Okay, so let's do this clip here. Instead of using it in the monitor, I'm going to just hold my left mouse button down and drag the clip into the timeline. Now with my pointer over the blue marker position sort of arrow, I'm going to just drag this over till this chap on the right just disappears. Okay, now with your pointer over the track that you're editing, just take it to the very edge until you get an arrow, and hold down your left mouse button and drag it to your marker, and you'll find that it starts at the point you want it to start. And again, do the same, come to the end of your clip, which is, I don't know, we'll make it there. Place your pointer over the edge and drag it to your marker. Happy days. Okay, again you can change it. You can drag it out this way, or you can drag it back out that to the left. In fact, if you drag it to the left, it will go over the top but then snap back in, so you'll find that you've actually started. In fact, let's take it right out as far as it'll go. There you are. So as you can see, this chap's here. So I'm going to just press Control Z and go right back to the beginning and start again, just to show you that you can use Control Z to edit or correct mistakes. So here he is again, and drag this over, yep, all the way over to the beginning, or the end rather. We'll do it there. Drag this to here. Job's a good one. And now this clip here, I'm trying to drag it into the timeline again, and this is where proxies do come in handy. If you've got a long clip and you're trying to find a place to start and finish, you know, if you sort of do a music video where you've got minutes, you know, the lag can cause all sorts of troubles. So let's get this to the point where I want to start. So we'll just start here with the trains coming into view, and again, pointer over the clip you're working with, hold down your left mouse button, drag it to your marker, and then decide where you want to finish. So I don't know, let's finish there, and again drag this to the marker, and that will do. Finally, if you want to watch your clip or your edited clips, just press play. Make sure you're happy with everything. That'll do. Okay. Now, rendering. It's slightly different than some editors, because if I went ahead and rendered now, I would end up with a low profile or low definition render of the actual proxy clips. So one thing I would advise, just drag your marker to the end and just make a note of the end time. So this one says 27.14. It's because it changes in, it doesn't change the length, but yeah, actually something changes in the track. It doesn't change the length, but it's just so that you know you've edited the you're going to edit to the same sort of length. So once you know where your end is, just come back up to project again, left click on it, then left click project manager, and then left click use original media, and just wait for this little thing to finish doing its job, and then close manager. Now in this instance nothing changed, so but I will just drag this over to check, and yeah, that's exactly how I want it. As you can see, it's now not, you've got lag now because we're back to the original sort of format. Okay, rendering your video. Left click the render button just down here, and because we've set it up to do HD 210 to 1080p 25 frames per second, we've got the options here which we can use. You can change it if you unselect this tab here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just encoding format, just left click on the little arrow, and I'm going to use H264 MP4. You can use MOV videos, QuickTime videos. These are the ones that match up on Flowblade. So, or you can use MPEG 4. I'm going to use H264, and that's all I'm going to do. Oh, decide where you're going to put your video as well. So just for ease, I'm going to dump it on my desktop by left clicking on here, and I'll give it a name, I don't know, something simple. That'll do. Okay, now the next thing, left click on render here, and this will happen, and you'll have to wait till your video finishes rendering. I'll come back to this when it's finished. Okay, well, once your video's finished rendering, hopefully you'll have something that is playable. My computer at present won't play H.264 Direct because I've upgraded my Ubuntu profiles, so I will have to place it back into Flowblade just to prove that it works. So I'll just drag it into there, and hopefully I've got a video clip in full definition that has been edited using Flowblade. Hopefully this helps somebody. Thank you for watching. Cheers.